So today is the day where we finalize the birch tree paintings at last. So I've worked on 2 birch tree paintings for testing that crackling medium and the peeling off problem. I'll be finishing both of those paintings today. You'll see the final results. I also have an idea for a 3rd painting, which I want to complete today as well. Right now, I'll take you back to the steps I went through. Then I will be completing those paintings. Here is the original birch tree. As you remember, the cracking medium was peeling off, so I added a bunch of matte gel, a really thick amount, to glue everything back together. That did work, so everything is flat and glued together. I had done a second patch test with raw cracking medium and with a mixture with a lot less paint, and it did the peeling problem anyway. So right now I'm just going to add matte gel to glue it back, and I'm hoping that everywhere else, because the surface is more solid because of the matte gel, I'll put another coat of Chroma Crackle on top, and I think it might not peel off now. On here I have to add more cracking medium on top of the gel to see if I can finally salvage this piece. If it doesn't work and it peels off again, it won't be salvageable. Here, after a lot of layering and gluing back with matte gel and relayering, they're still peeling, but it's not so bad. There's less peeling than on the first go round, but it's still kind of a little bit brittle. The paint has been drying for about a day. It feels very dry to the touch. So one thing that I want to do at the bottom here that is different than what I did initially is that I'm gonna add a layer of regular paint. So this is charcoal gray. I'm gonna do a couple of spots here like this. I'm gonna let this dry and overlay the crackling medium and see if it makes a difference. For the rest, I'm adding a mix of crackling medium with a little bit of paint, the way I did initially. On this piece, I'm pretty much done. It's just that the background yellow is a little bit too strong for me. I'm going to have a paler shade of yellow. Here's the mini version of the original one. I did exactly the same thing as the original painting. The only difference is I used Liquitex Everybody paint, which did not have any peeling off problems. So the culprit was that cheap paint that I had bought. It's called Hashem. It's a local brand. It's not a bad paint. It's just that it doesn't play well with that cracking medium, because I've used that paint for a while now and it works perfectly fine. It stays on the canvas and it's pretty opaque. It works really well. I think it's just a question of, like, with that unusual medium, it doesn't work well. Maybe there's more water in the paint. I just don't know. All I know is that it works with Liquitex and I'm happy about that. For your information, here I did 2 different tests. So here it was the Chroma Crackle mixed with a little bit of black paint. That's the result. And this is the result of the raw Chroma Crackle without any paint mixed inside of it, on top of a black spot of acrylic paint. So it gives more like a frosty look and that blue hue. So to make things a bit more even, I'm going to add diluted gray on top of those scales to kind of like mesh them all together. For the last piece, I want to do a birch tree forest, some kind of stylized, abstract birch tree forest. The only difference is that I won't use the crackling medium. I'm going to use strictly acrylic paint, and the composition is going to be different. So let's get to work and see how everything looks all together at the end. I officially completed all 3 paintings. I'm really proud of myself. That was a lot of work. It was a big day in the studio. Let's take a look. Here are both birch trees. So the smaller one, because there was 2 types of scales as you saw in the video before, I kind of tried to add some black and meld them together and do a gradient, but it's not 100% successful. At this point, I think it would be better if I put black everywhere. But the point of this is to know how the chroma crackle works, and now I know how it works. So if I want to redo it like perfectly on a really large format, I can actually do that. The large piece was not really salvageable. When you look up close, you see that there are a lot of problems. So I took the opportunity to try that contour line I was curious about. I used charcoal for the contour line. I think I prefer without the contour line for a softer feel, and instead of like a dark black, I prefer a softer gray like this for the scaling. So these softer scales without a contour line in a large format. For the chroma crackle, the important thing is to use a good quality paint. That's what I take from this. Let's check out the last piece. This was my initial sketch that I did a few weeks back. So that was the inspiration. This is the final result. It's very bold. I wasn't expecting or aiming for it to be this bold. It kind of grew out to be like that. I wanted the texture of the tree to be very bold. I was debating whether to do a contour line or not. I'm not sure if I love the contour line. I'm just unsure at this stage. At the bottom of the tree trunks, I put some grass. I don't know if that adds to the boldness of everything. Another option could have been to use some other medium, maybe oil pastel or some other technique to have this less contrasted and just more faded, a light gray. So I feel like what makes it the boldest is the fact that all this is black and not light gray, and all this grass thing with the contour line. So if ever I try it again, I would try it probably in a smaller format, and I would change those things, have everything be more gray and a bit softer all through. So that last piece is definitely not what I was aiming for. I was aiming for a more calm, gentle, softer feeling. This came out to be super bold, but I can't say that I'm not happy with it. It's just very different than what I was expecting. So in the next few days, I'll be like kind of looking at it and knowing more if I really love it or if I would like to redo it the softer way that I had in mind. Let me know your thoughts on all three pieces. I hope that this was satisfying. I know a lot of you have been waiting to see the results. I'm really happy. I learned a lot, and the pieces are not perfect, but it's all about the learning for me. So now I know more how the crackle works, and I'll be able to work it in a way that is more optimal. I'll meet you in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow. Baby, you're the one for me. Baby, you are meant for me. I'm madly in love with you.